These are the stories
My little girl, she's changing lives just by being herself.
of organizations and people making a difference.
When you first tell someone about adaptive wheelchair boxing, it doesn't sound real.
And empowering others
It saved my life. It saved my life.
across Canada
I scored my first goal in my first blind hockey game.
in our community.
Good morning, Blake. Are you ready to start the day? Our morning routine is pretty hectic. Do you want to wear your rainbow outfit today? Yeah? Should I go get Rowan? I get my 2 children ready for daycare. Good morning. Blake, who's a 4-year-old wheelchair user with spina bifida. Let's put your braces on, okay? And Rowan, who's 18 months old and just started to walk. You need more milk? So slow? Okay, I'm gonna go get Rowan ready, okay? One arm. I have my kids 80% of the time, so I'm very much a single mother, and I do all of the stuff. Is that what you wanted the Band-Aid for?
Yeah, that's what my hobby is.
But I think we've kind of have a well-oiled machine at this point, I think. Good job. And don't forget to eat your candy medicine, okay? I also need to get ready for work. It's quite hectic, but I'm so blessed and grateful that we have Hope's Home daycare for us to go to. I'm not sure what we would do without it.
This is Hope's home.
Jacqueline Tisher was a nurse who had 2 beautiful daughters with spina bifida. Her daughter Acacia lived to be 18. Her foster daughter Hope a short 10 months, and all spent inside a hospital room. Acacia sparked the vision. Hope became the motivation to create the first medical daycare in Canada.
She really was the inspiration of why we started Hope's Home and wanted to make a difference for other families who had a child with complex medical needs, who are unable to work, who are unable to get a break, who are unable to just live a family life that all children and families deserve. And I had no idea that it would be what it is today.
In 17 years, Hope's Home has grown from a few kids in Jackie's Regina basement into 6 early learning centers and 4 supportive living homes in communities across Saskatchewan, all designed to care for children with complex medical needs. Children like Blake.
Blake is a sassy 4-year-old who loves the color pink and she loves to dance. I'm Sarah Turnbull, I'm Blake's mom, and Blake goes to Hope's Home. Here we go. Blake has spina bifida and has limited mobility. It's a lot tougher for her to attempt to walk.
Blake has other medical needs that require specialized training. That's what Hope's Home offers.
Wherever we went, Blake would get additional funding. The difference is what they do with the funding.
Okay, now can we lift our knees straight up and march? March with this one.
So at Hope's Home, they have nursing on staff, they have physical development workers, they have just development workers, and it's all very personalized to her needs.
Awesome.
So it's more than simply having an EA or an extra hands, because she doesn't necessarily need that. She's very capable and independent.
Beyond the medical care, Sarah knew she found something special in Hope's Home right from the start, when she had complications during the birth of her son, Rowan.
When Blake first went to Hope's Home, my son was in the NICU. It was COVID, so we couldn't have extra people in the hospital. So Hope's Home saved me because they were able to look after Blake while I had to be in the hospital with my other child. They are so invested in my children. I know they love them.
Both of Sarah's kids attend Hope's Home because inside these walls, all kids are equal. That simple vision makes an impact on its own.
Good job. Mel's a little bit of a troublemaker. She won't create the drama, but she'll definitely watch the drama and laugh in the process.
My name's Ben Thomas,
And I'm Taya Thomas.
and we're Mail's parents. Mail has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so that means she's wheelchair bound at all times. She's completely dependent on us.
When she was born, we didn't know what we were gonna do, right? Like, what are we gonna do? And luckily for us, I had known about Hope's Home, and one of the first things I did was I called them. And immediately, like Jackie, the owner, she sat down with us and she's like, "Don't worry, May, I'll have a home here." And they took her with open arms. I mean, they didn't even second guess it. They were ready for it. That's just not something you can get anywhere else. You just don't find that.
Now, 12-year-old Mayelle is dropped off at Hope's Home every day after school, where she joins her two younger siblings.
I would definitely say having the typical kids around the medical needs children is a good thing. It teaches a lot of empathy. Our second cadence is always trying to reassure other children that they're okay and try to make them feel better.
The cost to come and play here is the same for every child, no matter their needs. That is another way Hope's Home is making a difference in the lives of families across the province.
She would have had to stay home full time, and I'd probably be working 2 jobs.
Did you want 2 wraps, Easton?
Sure.
And for single parents like Ramona Leroy, who has 4 children, Hope's Home is everything.
This is going on 12 years that I've lived being a medical mom. It's stressful, it's tiring, it's worrisome. Braden is medically fragile since birth. He overall is undiagnosed. He requires 24 hours nursing care. Having a place like Hope's Home for Braden to attend has been a blessing. That's the only word really that I can describe what it is to me and my family. I would not, I don't think, be able to work a full-time job. We were told that he wasn't going to make it past 2 years old. So he's come, sorry. A long way, and I do believe that Hope's Home was a part of that. We were told he wouldn't be able to hold his head up or sit up on his own, and he accomplished those milestones, I believe, with the therapy that Hope's Home provides. To have this sort of daycare, you know, available to a family like us, it's amazing.
Affordability was part of founder Jackie's original vision, and while that has been the biggest barrier, she has never wavered. Amanda Montgomery was drawn in from the start.
I was a nurse in the hospital when I learned about Jackie and this endeavor that she was on. And the day I met her, I fell in love. I fell in love with her, and I fell in love with her vision for this organization and caring for the children of our province. I left my job in the hospital that day. I left my pension behind me, much to my parents' surprise, I believe, but I never looked back. When we started, we really didn't have much in the way of paperwork or rules and regulations. It was a brand new idea and was a gray area with a lot of the systems. We weren't quite community and we weren't quite facility. And so all of that needed to be developed. And we were nurses. It wasn't necessarily our strong suit in learning how to do that, but it took a lot of time and patience and determination over the years to develop all those resources so that we could run structured and effectively and smoothly.
A medical daycare had never been done and didn't fall under any government funding formulas. So while they lobbied, advocated, created policies and partnerships to prove the Hope's Home model works, the team was also raising millions of dollars through community events to stay open. And after 17 years, Hope's Home was recognized as a necessary piece of the child care puzzle in Saskatchewan.
I think it's unimaginable that we can still be the only medical daycare in Canada.
What does everybody else in Canada do?
Our community will return after the break. We now return to our community.
Our events are fun, they're very engaging, they're unique too, just like Hope's Home is.
Founder Jacqueline Tisher has relied on community support to help keep Hope's Home alive. Swinging with the Stars is a competitively friendly event that judges the dance routines of well-known community members. It's the biggest fundraiser of the year, and what better way to also raise awareness than to feature one of their own kids. Blake's lively dance routine was the hit of the night.
It was amazing to showcase Blake this year at Swinging with the Stars and watch her dance in her little wheelchair. And I think it was an eye-opener to our guests that night to see that, oh, that's the type of kiddos that come to Hope's Home. We have a variety of diagnoses that our children live with, and that's not who they are, they're kids. And they should be with their siblings and their friends and be able to access that daycare. Blake was quite a rock star that night and really was a beautiful example of the work that we do. And we like to raise some money there too.
There is support from the provincial government, community partners, as well as parent fees, but there are always funding gaps that don't cover nursing staff and specialized equipment. Now those gaps have shrunk, with Hope's Home recognized in a new Canada-Saskatchewan Child Care Inclusion Grant.
It's been 17 years though, and we've had to fundraise millions to pay for our staff just to prove a point that this is a model that works. April 2022, we'll never forget. Yeah, best announcement ever.
But that doesn't mean the fundraising stops. That just means Hope's Home can help even more families, because the need for medical daycares continues to grow.
My name is Lisa White. Hi. And I'm the Senior Manager of Early Learning and Childcare.
14 years ago, Lisa started on the daycare floor doing therapies with the kids. She's been developing more specialized programs and services for them ever since. Challenging the norm has become an unofficial motto.
Once I learned that there was children living in hospital because their parents couldn't care for their high needs or there wasn't a place for them to go, it really made me want to provide that service through our cities and our province and really giving families a place where their child can be a child and experience things no matter how long or short their life may be, they still get to be kids. And it just made me really want to be a part of something bigger than just a regular program and really pushing the envelope and asking the hard questions.
That persistence is how Hope's Home expanded out of Regina into a couple of northern cities and now Saskatoon, where it's preparing to open 2 early learning centers with 144 spots.
It's been 8 years in the making, actually, is how long it actually takes to get this off the ground. There's a brand new children's hospital there, and that's where we've seen a lot of our families have to go to make sure that they get the supports for their children. I take pride in being a part of this from the beginning to see the change that we've done, because it really is a legacy and it's leaving an impact on the communities and I guess history on what children are capable of and how much we should actually push them and recognize that they can do anything that they want to do.
A perspective shared by the whole team. Staff like John Wynn and Caitlin DeConnick have found their place here with these children.
Yum.
You like to hang out with kids.
Yeah, I do like hanging out with you, yes. Yeah, my job, I just love working here. It's been my dream job forever, so I'm so glad to be here. Just making them feel happy and safe and calm.
The impression that this place has left on me just working here for just a couple months is just extraordinary.
Staff members are called Auntie and Uncle by the kids and the parents. It's a village.
Good morning, Dream. Dream is 4 years old. She's a big girl. She's got the most beautifulest curls ever and eyes that express more than words can say. My name is Jana Pratt, and my daughter Dream goes to Hope's Home. At first, I was a little hesitant. How are kids going to react to her? How are people going to react to her? Because she's in her wheelchair, she's nonverbal. But every concern I had with the daycare was met.
Dream was diagnosed with brain cancer at 6 days old and wasn't expected to live this long. She has tumors that cause seizures. At daycare, she receives the physiotherapies, medications, and special diet she requires.
Slowly, the tumors are taking over. So our goal is to live Dream's best life as possible. And living her best life is, being able to have childhood experiences like any other kid. They're listening to round dance music and powwow music, and that to me is super important to incorporate culture. They make sure she's included with everything. She's part of the gang. In fact, that medical portion of care isn't dominating the play area, so the kids get to be kids.
And Jana gets to be herself.
I've needed to make sure that I have my own hobbies and interests, so if I lose Dream, I don't lose myself with her. I don't want to be her nurse. I don't want to be her occupational therapist. I just want to be her mom, and I just want to love her. And Hope's Home allows me to do that.
This is why staff like Amanda stayed on from the start.
Jackie never gave us the option to say we couldn't do this, and I think knowing that the kids needed it inspired us to keep going when it got rough. So we just kept pushing forward, and we added lots of great people onto our team who had the expertise that we didn't as nurses, and just kept evolving over the years.
Bringing Jackie's original vision full circle. Our community will return after the break. We now return to our community.
Good. Jeffrey lives his life in a wheelchair. He requires the use of a ventilator to help him to breathe. He has a tube feed that helps to nourish him. And he never had a home in the community before he lived at Hope's Home.
Amanda Montgomery manages another side of Hope's Home, supportive living for children. About a decade ago, they were asked by the Ministry of Social Services to create another new program, one that gives foster children with complex medical needs a place to live.
If Hope's Home didn't exist and our supportive living program didn't exist, these children would be living in the hospital or they'd be living in long-term care with seniors. Our goal at supportive living is to have a home, just like your home, just like my home. They have somebody to tuck them in at night, to read them stories, to take them to school, to go bowling and swimming and take them camping in the summertime. It really is just a child's life that every child deserves to have in a medically safe environment. So that's the difference, is we have nurses 24/7 to ensure that all of those experiences are done safely and the kids are cared for. But really, it's just a home environment, a home like yours, home like mine.
A home that is now Jeffrey's.
He has a bedroom that's tailored to his likes. He has the equipment that he needs to be successful and thrive. He has children to play with. He's surrounded by love. He has the experiences that every child deserves to have.
Funded by the province and managed by Hope's Home, there are now 4 supportive living homes for foster children. True Hope's Homes. The inspiration from Jackie's foster daughter Hope has led to so much more, but not quite enough.
I have a big vision for Hope's Home. I do believe 2 things. Hope's Home should have a hospice in Saskatchewan. There's such a need for respite for our families and palliative care for pediatrics. And the growth and need in Canada is profound. For 17 years, I've heard from other provinces, especially those connected to the children's hospitals across Canada, and those communities in particular. I believe there'll be an opportunity one day if we dream big and are fearless we'll be across Canada.
Their Saskatchewan families agree.
I don't know what other parents do. I'm one of the fortunate parents that have this amazing support, this access to something like this, right? I don't know what other people do.
It's really one of a kind, and I wish it could be everywhere for everyone who needs it.
Seriously, like the fact that I live in a city where this is a normal thing is, and this is Regina, Saskatchewan, like, come on, like.
Reach big and tall.
Oh, you're cracking a smile.
I'm so proud. You know, I think back to Acacia and Little Hope. You know, they lived, 10 months for Hope and 18 years for Acacia. And wow, what a legacy their little lives have made. It's incredible. I so strongly believe that if each one of us follow our purpose and what God created us for and took those passions and those really hard experiences and the positive experiences and make a difference in our world, what a great world we live in. Yeah. We did it at Hope's Home.
Produced by Honeycut Studios. Narrator Jim Van Horn. Graphics Andrew Antonello. Integrated Describe Video Consultant Ron Rickford. Supervising Producer Jennifer Johnson. Content Development Specialist Jim Crisco. Lisanne Gagne, Manager Programming AMI-TV. Director Content Development and Production Kara Nye. Vice President Content Development and Operations John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2023, Accessible Media, Inc.
An AMI original production.